What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another edition of the Tinfoil Chronicles. I haven't made one of these videos in a while, but I had an idea yesterday that I thought was good enough for a video, but I will admit it is some major tinfoil and it's probably not likely to come true, but let's have some fun anyway. I'm not sure if anyone has ever talked about this before, but as far as I know, I haven't heard anyone discuss this exact possibility yet. As I was thinking about the prince that was promised prophecy, I started to wonder if this could be a play on words, and what I mean by that is, what if the prince who was promised means it is some kind of a gift or offering to someone? What if this prince was promised to the Night King? Could this be the reason why the Night King has become so active as of lately? Could the Night King be coming south to get the prince who was promised to him? Only Jon and Daenerys do not know this yet. They aren't aware that anything was promised to the Night King. Maybe Daenerys and Jon's baby will be the prince who was promised, and the Night King knows this, so he is coming to get the baby that was promised to him as an offering. The Night King has had several opportunities to kill Jon Snow, but for some reason he hasn't, and I've been wondering why. Before I discuss this any further, I have to go backtrack some so I can explain why I think this is a possibility. In the television show, we learned that the Children of the Forest are the ones who created the original Night King, the very first Night King who came during the Long Night, just like we heard in one of Old Nan's tales. The Children of the Forest created the Night King because they were at war, and they needed a powerful weapon to defend themselves and their sacred weirwood trees.
It was you. You made the White Walkers.
We were at war. We were being slaughtered. Our sacred trees cut down. We needed to defend ourselves.
From whom?
From you. From men.
But as we all know, something happened that caused the Children of the Forest to lose control of their weapon, and now the Night King and his army seem to be seeking some kind of vengeance. Now in the books there is a different Night's King, but I think they could be merging both of these characters together to form the Night King that we know in the show. There must be some kind of reason why they lay dormant for so many years and are just now deciding to start attacking and eventually coming south of the Wall. During the first Long Night, there was a legendary figure called the Last Hero, and he was the one who set out with 12 men to find the Children of the Forest in order to stop the war against the others. While he was on this mission, the Last Hero's 12 companions either died or disappeared, but the Last Hero eventually found the Children of the Forest, and together they were able to send the others back to the far north, which led to the Long Night ending, but no one knows how the Last Hero was able to end the fighting. I'm assuming the Last Hero was not able to kill all of the White Walkers because they are back again, so some of them had to have survived the Long Night. I have always believed that the Last Hero had to have made some kind of a deal with the Night King or White Walkers to get the fighting to stop. The White Walkers were winning this war during the Long Night, so why would they stop fighting and decide to go back to the lands of always winter unless they were offered something? Whatever deal the Last Hero made obviously worked. The fighting stopped and the wall was built to keep the others out, but this is when we hear the tale about the Night's King, who was the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. The Night's King took control of the Night Fort on the Wall, and he ruled there for 13 years with a woman who is described as a female other. She had pale skin and blue eyes, just like the White Walkers do. Then eventually, the Night's King ended up having sex with her and he gave her his seed, and together they started sacrificing babies to the others. They did this for a while until eventually the King in the North and the King beyond the Wall put a stop to this. But we can see that sacrifices were being made nearly 8,000 years ago, and Old Nan has always believed that this Night's King was a Stark. I think she's most likely right, and that would mean all of the babies being sacrificed to the others back then had Stark's blood, which is obviously a very powerful bloodline. Then you fast forward to the beginning of this current story and we have Craster sacrificing his babies to the others, and many people believe Craster has Targaryen blood, which is another very powerful bloodline. So now the others have Targaryen babies being turned into White Walkers. When you think about it all of the White Walkers were made up of either Stark or Targaryen blood, because they've most recently came from Craster, who is Targaryen, and they used to come from the Night's King who ruled on the Wall, who Old Nan said was a Stark. If all of this is true, which I believe it is, then this means the original Night King had a very strong interest in Targaryen and Stark blood. And this could have something to do with the original pact that was made with the last hero and the Children of the Forest during the Long Night.
I saw it. I saw something take that child. Whatever it was, I dare say you'll see it again.
The last hero may have promised the others a new prince, which is the prince who was promised to the Night King, a baby made up of ice and fire, Stark and Targaryen. The Night King might want a prince who will eventually take his place, and the last hero may have promised this prince over 8,000 years ago during the Long Night. The last hero had to have promised something very special and important to get the war to end, or else the White Walkers would have never accepted a truce because they were winning the war at the time. Why else would they give up when they knew they could win? All of this leads me to what we have seen lately. It's obvious the Night King is very interested in Jon Snow. We already know the Night King has some sort of green sight abilities. We have seen the Night King interact with Bran Stark inside the weirwood net. This means the Night King may know some things that everyone else does not know, kind of like the Three-Eyed Raven. The Three-Eyed Raven knew everything that was going to happen before it happened, and the Night King may have the same kind of powers.
You're the Three-Eyed Raven.
I've been many things. Now, I am what you see.
My brother, he led us to you, and now
He knew what would happen. From the moment he left, he knew, and he went anyway.
How do you know?
I've been watching you. All of you.
The Night King may have left Jon alive because he knew Jon and Daenerys would eventually meet and create the prince who was promised, made up of ice and fire. When you think about it, the Night King attacked the wall at pretty much the same exact time Jon and Daenerys were having sex. The Night King may know that Jon gave Daenerys his seed, and now it's his time to come south and get the prince who was promised to him. The prince who would eventually take the Night King's place as the leader of the others. I know this may sound crazy as hell to some of you, but I think this would be a very interesting way to explain what the Night King actually wants. But let me know what you think about this crazy idea. Do you think it's possible at all, or not a chance? Put your questions or thoughts down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate that, and thanks to each and every one of you who support this channel on Patreon. Have a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Oh, my sweet summer child, what do you know about fear? Fear is for the winter, when the snows fall 100 feet deep. Fear is for the long night, when the sun hides for years, and children are born and live and die, all in darkness. That is the time for fear, my little lord, when the White Walkers move through the woods.